The new iPhone, which has the new built-in 8-core neural engine, has some great improvements for some apps that are using Apple's machine learning technology. And I was asked very often in the last weeks, Marcus, we're using .NET technology from Microsoft. Can we use Apple's new technology for machine learning to combine both worlds, Microsoft and Apple's machine learning technology? And I said, okay, I go for a short demo and make this video. Let's take a look into the slides that were presented by Apple. So what do we need to know? First, we have to identify what do we want to solve with machine learning. What kind of problem do we want to solve with machine learning here? Then, once we identify the problem, we need, of course, a couple of data here and lots of data to train the model. And once the model is trained, we have to take a look into it and see if the model is working correctly. Then we store it and can use it in our .NET application. So let's start. What do I want to solve with machine learning? Do I want to go for sound recognition, image classification, object detection, data prediction, or whatever? I decided to go for a simple image classification here in my demo. So for this, I just used some images from another Xamarin demo, which you can find on the Xamarin website, which contains a couple of images of dogs. There are little cute dogs in here. And the same, I have a couple of images, of course, of cats that are already used in a Xamarin demo, which you can find on the website. Then I also, inside my demo, I want to distinguish between some images of my colleague Michael. So I have some images of my colleague Michael, and I used also a couple of images of me on the airport, for example. Once I have collected all my data that I want to use for my training, I have to start to train the model. So let's go. In the next steps, before I go back to Visual Studio, I open up Xcode. And in Xcode, I get started with a freshly new playground. Doesn't matter, I can use a blank one. And here I type, for example, my test playground. Okay, let's create it. And in my test playground, of course, I have to remove everything that is created by Xcode. And when I start to go for machine learning, I have to import create.ml UI. Create.ml UI offers me the new create.ml UI from Xcode. Then I instantiate it. Let's go for a new ML image classification builder. And I want to show it, of course, in my live view. And once I added it, I can hit Alt, Command, and Enter. And here we go. Now let's start to train the model. For this, I go into the folder where my training data is, which you have already seen. And I can just drag the folder directly here to begin training. The training starts. You can see it was really fast and returns us a result for a model accuracy of 100%. That means the system was able to see at least every image that's in my folder, that my folder structure looks like correct. And then I want to validate my model to see if my model was trained correctly. For this, I have also a kind of testing data here, which contains images, for example, of Michael, which the model has never seen before. There are also some images of me, which wasn't trained in the training data, or which wasn't trained by the training data. Okay. I can just drag particular images to see the prediction. Now here's a predicted dog. And I can see here, this is predicted Michael. And to test the whole model, I can also drag the complete folder here with my testing data to see if my model is working correctly. And it returns me a model evaluation of 88%. You can see everything was trained correctly. A couple of dogs here, of course. Michael was recognized correctly. And boom, wow. This predicted Marcus, which looks like correct, but it was in the cat folder. That indicates me that my testing data maybe is not well. Let's take a look into my testing data about the cats. And you can see, below my cats, that's the wrong image inside here, which has to be removed, of course. Let's say we can live with that failure, and let's guess our model is trained well and correctly. Let's see how it works inside Visual Studio in our .NET application. Before I can use it, I have to save it to disk. Give it a well name. I just let it state it as image classifier here. It's okay. And let's say save. Then it saves the model to disk. Now when I look into the folder where the model is stored, here is the file, the image classifier.ml model. This file contains everything that is needed for all machine learning, and everything for my neural network contains all convolutional information that is needed. And you can see it's just 50 kilobytes, which is really, really tiny small. Let's open up Visual Studio and open the project you want to use it within. I have here the CoreML image recognition demo, which is available on the Xamarin webpage, and I enhance it with my own CoreML code. So to do this, just click on Resources, click on Add Files, go to Documents folder, of course, and here's the model that we have created. Now just click on it to open it. Yes, of course, he wants to ask me if I want to copy the file into my directory. I said okay. Of course, I want to overwrite it because I already did it. And now the model is directly in my resources. And what Visual Studio does, it generates automatically an image classifier class inside it. One simple double click, I can see in this wrapper class everything that is needed for me that I want to use. For example, I get some really nice functions, for example, image classifier output. And what's most important for me, I have a function which is called getPrediction to see exactly what my model predicts. Let's make an instance of this generated wrapper class. And I have a file here in machine model learning.cs. And in the classify method, just instantiate the image classifier. And by just putting an image into it, I get a dictionary which everything is needed for an output. Let's see how it works. Let's start it. It's correctly. And it waits for iOS Simulator to connect. Now Simulator opens up. And let's see, I have a couple of images here. Let's say this cat, for example. It's a cat. And I have an image from Michael here. And it's predicted well as Michael. Let's take a picture of myself. Yes, must be me. That's correct. Okay, it's working correctly. It's awesome. Let's choose another image here. Yes, that's a dog. It's working well. Well done. Now you have seen how Apple's CreateML works seamlessly in your .NET projects. So you want to know if it's also working in your Android Fire ML for Android phones, so maybe it's for us to take the next video. So thanks for watching.